The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to Sister Speak. Today you're on the show with me, Lamisa.
Me, Mariam.
Me, Fareen.
And me, Sonia.
Yay, we're all here. So, how are you guys? It's been a while, I feel like, you know.
It's good to see you, Lamisa. She's live in the studio, by the way.
Live in the studio.
Not Zoom calling in.
Yeah, I'm not on a computer. Alhamdulillah, I'm here in person.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So we've got a good show today. Our main topic is surrounding women in higher education and higher roles, I guess. Very, very interesting topic that we were going to discuss about. But yeah, before we get into everything, Mariam, do you want to let everyone know what our show's about?
Yes, so our show is a platform for Muslim girls to voice their own opinions on current events and issues and form discussions on general topics such as religion, culture, politics and social media. We want to note that all opinions and views are our own, and we respect all other opposing views.
Exactly. And if you guys do want to get involved with the conversation, Fareen, where can they get in contact?
We are live on Facebook at Inspire Film Luton. You can call us on 01582 481 822, and you can WhatsApp us on 07779 481 822. You can also message us on Twitter, let us know your thought of the week, and we can read them out during the live.
Exactly. Please do follow us on Instagram as well, at Sister Speak.
At Sister Speak, yes, you can let us know your thoughts and your thought of the week or any updates that we have on our Instagram as well.
Exactly. Great stuff. So yeah, okay, I guess we'll just go straight into our thoughts for the week this week. So this is a part of our show where we discuss something that has hit us, like a realization. Should we start off with Sonia?
Oh, I felt like coming. Hello everyone, my thought of the week. So I just got so many thoughts this week, I think. And my thought of the week would be, this is really hard to do, but don't let things bring you down. I sound so vague, but I'm going to tell you this. It's the most silliest thing ever, but I bought this new thing. It was a little, it's like a sticker that you put onto the wall, but I put it onto the wrong place.
Okay.
And I couldn't take it off.
Okay.
And the thing is, the whole point is that the sticky is strong enough that you can't take it off. But
I see.
I'm the one who put it in the wrong place.
Oh no.
And I didn't realise I spent nearly an hour just trying to peel this back off the wall.
Oh no.
And then I was literally sat back and I thought, this has ruined my day. It's actually ruined my day. Yeah, it did. I told everyone, told my mum and everything. And then I was like, you know what? I need to just stop.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling so sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And there's bigger issues. Like even today I've had bigger issues than that. And like I've left that now, but it definitely overwhelmed me in that moment. So yeah, I think it sounds like a silly thought of the week, but it's just what I went through this week. So I was like, I need to just let go of things sometimes and don't let them take over and consume me, no matter how big or small they are. Just
100%.
you know, there's nothing you could do sometimes.
And it's, I don't think it's silly. I think it's something we've all been through multiple times. Probably it's a lot more common than, like, hearing you say it.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good because I've done that so many times. So
it's like that thing where you're already having a bad day and just you have so many bad things happen to you today, and the one thing is like, oh my god, it's like the
tips you over the edge.
Yeah.
So I do think it's more deep rooted than that if you unpack it, because I think it comes from a sense of perfectionism that we're expected to have things exactly how it's meant to be. And so then when it doesn't go the way we want, we become overwhelmed, we become consumed because we already had this expectation that it would go this certain way. And that's why, although you may think that's trivial, it's not, because it's applicable in so many situations, and we see ourselves grappling with that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's also on the background of we have so many things that frustrate us that aren't in our control, and I think we're aware of that. So when things that are in our control go wrong, it's just like
you just don't even know how to respond sometimes.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you can all relate. That makes me feel better.
I feel like we're not given adequate tools to how to manage these kind of emotions, especially in school. I think me and Amisa have talked about this before, and I just think that we used to do PSHE, if that's the sort of thing.
I think. Yeah.
What is it?
It's like a community type of topic
I think ours is called citizenship.
So it was about kind of promoting. What was it about?
PSHE, I think it stood for Personal, Social, Health, Education. So it's very like random, but like
It's just like you do like maybe 10 minutes a week or something.
Yeah,
That's how
no,
much we got
honestly,
anyway.
nothing.
It really
It's
wasn't a
supposed to
lot.
like promote good culture, social
like
Oh,
how to be
okay.
a good person in life, I think.
Yeah,
So
do
not
Do you think
English,
it did
math,
its job
science.
since none of us actually know what it was? Like,
No,
I mean, 10 minutes a week is a really short time to like be a good human in
you
it.
know what? Exactly.
Very
Like,
true.
well, my school's similar. Like, it started off as a big thing, and then as we got throughout these, it died
it's
down
just-
as a subject.
we had
and
it
then
in
it just-
tutorial, which is like 10 minutes before break.
Ours just disappeared as
It
well.
just-
The
yeah.
whole
Same.
thing disappeared. So, what was the point you were going to say? then,
Just saying,
Mary?
we need to learn these tools to equip
Yeah,
us.
so we
Maybe
need the-
maybe in PSHE or
wouldn't be
Or a
great.
subject that they still do, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence is something that I'm very strong about, and I feel like you can a child's character is developed until the age of 7, and if you instill that in young people from primary school up to in primary school, then that will help them to manage their emotions as they grow older, because they can't make sense of what the emotions are, they can't regulate that, they can't govern it because they don't understand the rationale behind it. And so then when we grow older, because we haven't been taught those tools, we don't know how to respond to situations,
how to deal with
because it comes from your childhood.
Mm.
And I think it's not talked about a lot because we just kind of brush it off, saying, "Oh, it's a trivial thing."
Mm.
But actually, it's a lot. It's a surface level thing that it just needs to be addressed in a more deep-rooted way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariam.
I think my sense of like perfectionism stuff came from my dad just expecting me to be good all the time, and I think from our parents it also comes like all the tools that you have to do this. Like they also make mistakes, but for us it's worse for us that we can't make mistakes and we get yelled at when we're like children.
It's a cultural thing.
There's a cultural
It's a
thing.
whole it's a very you
Vicious
have to
circle.
look at this issue, I guess, from multiple different aspects. School has an aspect, home has an aspect, everything to try and help us understand our emotions and be able to deal with them better. But I guess as adults, going with Sonia's thought for the week, if something doesn't go your way, just try to let it not consume your day. I think the more conscious we are about it, that helps overcome it a bit more.
I think it's also the essence of having introspection, because when you understand yourself more, you can actually pause in that moment and take a step back and say, okay, these are my big emotions. How do I deal with this? How do I make sure I don't respond in a way that I'll regret later on? Or just take yourself away from the situation. I think that's really important, because the more we react in those instances, the more we regret. So thanks, Sonia, for this good talk.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for validating my feelings and also telling me how it's quite normal that we don't know how to react in those situations.
It's 100% normal.
This thought of the week segment is such a random thought that you're like, I'm only thinking this, and then when you actually come here and you actually say it out loud, it's like it's so relatable. Everyone feels the same way.
Exactly. So, Farine, very nicely, do you want to let us know what your thought for the week is?
My thought of the week, I feel like my whole personality trait this like past weeks has just been my exams and related to all the stress or revising. I'm sure you can relate as well. And the thing is, I feel like I'm so chilled out for no reason. I feel like I started revising too late. Obviously I have like 3 weeks until my first exam, but I'm so relaxed, and I don't know if that's a bad thing or if it's a good thing, because I feel like you should be relaxed and revising. And everyone around me, they're all panicking, revising, and I'm literally no revising and relaxed.
Oh.
So I'm going through this thing where I just feel like I don't have any time, because my time management at the beginning of the year, this last year, I feel like it was really good, and because I didn't have that much stuff to do. But now I'm putting so many things at priority and leaving the exams, and then I'm like, I'm too tired to do it, and then I don't end up doing it. And I'm going to give an example. For example, today I had like this big break, and all I was doing was just sitting there. It's because I can't put my mind to it. So I'm going to ask you, Lemisa, because you're doing exams, what kind of advice can you give me to concentrate?
I have a lot of advice to give you. However, I don't think I follow any of it. So I'm joking. I feel like it's about thinking about what your goal was. So I was very much like you in A-levels, and I know that when things don't go your way at the end, you know you're going to regret it, right? So
Definitely.
first put that in your head, the fact that you deserve so much better than having to go through this whole process and then regret at the end of it, right? Not only that, if you have time now, and I know you're saying you feel like you don't have a lot of time left, but what I want to say is it's never too late to start. And that is the biggest thing to always remember. And I think the reason why we try and put off our studying so much is that we feel there's a pressure on us and we don't want to confront the thing that's coming our way. But those exams, my love, are going to come whether you like it or not. This is just what I want to say to my younger self. They're going to come whether you like it or not, right? That day is going to come, and you're going to have to face the exam. So you want to be in a position where you're most well prepared to actually deal with it when the time comes. So in that sense, even though there's not a lot of time left, You just need to start. And as soon as you start, just build it up little by little. And that's the most important thing. I think this year for me, so my year started June 2022 and it's still going on. And it's going to finish June 2023, which is where we're coming up to now. And there's a lot of stuff to study and a lot of content. And there's only 2 months left, and I'm just sat here like, I really don't want to. And my issue is that a lot of this stuff I've seen before, but because I've seen it before and I know it's quite complicated, I don't want to tackle it.
Yeah, I relate so much. There's stuff that you're like comfortable with, and you know that's the thing that you keep revising every day.
Yeah,
and the things that
exactly.
you actually need to revise that you don't know. It's
that
like you keep procrastinating.
You don't know. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like in your head, it's almost like I feel like there's a fog that comes over my head where I'm like, every time I see those topics, my brain does not want to digest that information at all. Like I will do whatever it takes. My phone's always on do not disturb. I will actively go on my phone and
we know.
That was mean. Okay, that was really mean. But my phone's always on do not disturb, but I will actively go on it and seek people out, and that's when I like start responding to messages because I don't want to study. But I would say once you try and get rid of that fog and be like, no, I'm actually going to focus this time, and you actually start looking at the content and it starts to make sense. Once you start getting in that rhythm, you'll realise that you will just keep going and it's fine. I think one other thing that really helped me as well was Study With Me videos. I'm not afraid to say that I use those videos. So you go on YouTube and you write like Study With Me.
Oh.
And it's like the Pomodoro technique, but it's like 50, I do the 50-10 one. And when I see someone else studying, it almost makes me want to study myself. Yeah,
I think that's quite normal though. When people go to like libraries and stuff,
exactly.
you're surrounded
Can you explain that a little bit further for those who don't really know?
The Pomodoro technique. So I think it's where you have small focus sessions and then you take regular breaks, and it means that you're able to study for a longer period of time rather than just studying for, let's say, an hour, hour and a half, 3 hours straight. And then being like, oh, I can't do it the rest of the day. If you do 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, you can study for a longer amount of time. And it's more effective, apparently, because you're focused for that small amount of time. So you get all of the revision that you need to do done properly without any time for procrastination, because you have your 5 minutes at the end of every 25 to do that.
Can I share my revision method? So what I do is I time, do you know the time lapse option on the camera? That's what I do. I just put it there and I talk to it. Yeah, it's such a me thing.
Well, and then you watch it at the end.
And I watch it at the end and I put music and I'm like, I did this today. So I have like evidence that I did it.
I used to do that as well. That's really good. Also like talking through anything, any concepts that you don't understand. But like you don't even have to pretend you're a teacher. You could pretend you're a vlogger or whatever. Like turn on the camera and talk it through. And then when you hear yourself going through it, you're kind of checking yourself as you're saying it. It's a good method. It's
a good technique. And the Pomodoro technique, I also use it, but it's this app that it doesn't, because obviously your phone is such a big distraction, you go like any apps. So it's an app that it has a 25-minute timer like you did. But if you go out of the app to like, I don't know, TikTok or something, then it kills a tree, which is like
a imaginary tree. Yeah, that came out when I was...
So I'm like, oh my god, no, I killed a tree. So I just leave it on the timer. And then when the break comes, I just go on Instagram. So from your... advice I'm taking to not procrastinate and remember when my goal start. Yeah, definitely first one. Remember what I want to do.
Yeah,
and time management.
I think the remembering what you want to do is actually really important.
It is.
A lot of us kind of forget our focus when we have long-term goals, and then it kind of gets to a point where we're like, for example, studying, you have a dream or an aim job that you want, but it's so far ahead in the future and you're just like, how far ahead is it? Like, is it really that important? But it's about reminding yourself, like, actually this is something that I want to do and it's going to come one day, one time, very soon. So I may as well try my hardest now, and then hopefully I can get that goal in the end. But it's hard, like you have to keep reminding yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think when you have a goal in mind, it's so much easier to do things. When you don't have a goal in mind, then your focus is like everywhere. But yeah,
it's just being intentional about what you're studying.
Yeah, so to everyone revising, we can do this.
You got this.
We can pass our exams.
Atomic Habits.
If you have the time. Otherwise, study your
textbooks. But one takeaway from Atomic Habits, if I may, is just separating your time into more manageable aspects, in terms of, if you don't find a certain topic on which you both mentioned appealing, then attribute it to something appealing. So say, for example, I'm going to study this really hard concept, but after that I'm going to reward myself. That makes it easier. And also make it visible in your room. So when I tidy my room and I need to do something, I put it right in front of my face, so then I can't avoid it. So that really helps, because your environment is kind of encouraging you and prompting you to do that certain task. So that's just a little tip as well.
See, I'm so toxic. What I would do is I would hide it, and then when I feel like doing it, I would put it right back.
I love it. She's so relatable.
We don't endorse investment.
Yeah, we don't.
No, work hard.
The atomic habits are important.
Atomic
Yeah, work hard and little and often. And I think just once you start and you do a little bit every single day, then it's easy to build up.
I also think it's important to factor in having breaks. I feel like we were very polar. We either work extremely hard and then burn out, or we just completely despunk the work that we need to do and just completely just rest. I think we need to be more balanced in our approach, and that way you won't feel that you're just consumed by this task, and you will feel that, okay, this is actually a lot more manageable and it's a lot more healthier, and then you feel more inclined to actually do that task.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to develop that. So give yourself time.
Definitely.
Do it little often.
But everyone has different learning styles. So what we're suggesting, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will suit you. You have to kind of do a trial and error. You have to explore different techniques.
100%.
I find my studying technique in my final year of university. So,
and people studying techniques change. What worked for you
100%
a few years back may not work for you now. For example, I used to learn by like making notes and talking it out, but now I've realised actually just doing questions now helps me. I used to hate the library. I never used to study in the library. Now all I do is study in libraries. So, it's whatever works for you. But yeah, very nice. Very good thought for the week. I love it. Mariam, what's your thought for the week?
Well, so my thought of the week yesterday, I attended an event by Unisa Finance. So for those who don't know, she does a lot of workshops on helping Muslim women elevate their understanding of finance, upskilling themselves, and she has like an array of workshops. And what I find really interesting is how she really focused on the idea of making your faith the central idea of gaining understanding of finance. And I think that's really important, because she said that if you want to become intentional with your finance, you have to be intentional with your faith, because it all goes back to that. It goes back to your faith. It's all the ideas that we're supposed to abide by, and to kind of make sure that we're abiding by Allah's laws. And I think that was something that was really inspiring for me, because often we kind of separate the two. We separate finance with goals. And she actually talked about how in Ramadan we have all these religious goals, and of course that's incredible. But do we ever think about our finance? Do we make dua that we have halal income? Because if we don't have halal income, then we're eating haram, right? And a lot of us don't think like that, because we're just thinking it's coming to our bank account. We're not being intentional. And even the idea of not wasting money as well. So we're very unintentional with just tapping our card on various things. I think we're all kind of, we all succumb to that kind of guilt. So I think that it was a really good workshop. I think it really opened my mind, because I just feel that as I'm growing older, I really feel like I need to be able to understand finance. Also in terms of understanding my religion in terms of finance, because there's a whole fiqh around finance. So yeah, that's my thought of the week. It's just kind of exploring a new area, and it's quite ironic because I started a job in an area that deals with finance. So.
No, I think that's a really good thought for the week. In terms of trying to be more intentional with everything, and you're learning a new area of our deen. I think a lot of us, we don't realise that all of these we know it, but we don't look into it, or we haven't properly understood it. And the fact that you're actually going for it and learning about it in that way with your faith as the anchor is, I think, something we all want to work towards as well, inshallah. And I love that, because it kind of reminds me about my thought for the week, which is being a bit more intentional, I guess, and being a bit more mindful about all of the information that we're consuming all of the time. During Ramadan, I heard a lecture, and they were talking about how everything that we listen to and everything that we see and everything that we, all of these types of things, in a way, you should try and increase the amount of it that is related to faith or related to God, because that way it will help kind of manifest that. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, what proportion of my day do I actually spend contemplating about faith, or actually thinking about these types of things? How much of the stuff that I am consuming is actually like in line with my faith, and is that maybe a reason why at times that I might feel like drifted away, or maybe not, so I was thinking about that. I was thinking I just want to be a bit more intentional with it, because I know that as soon as I wake up I'm checking my phone, and before I'm going to sleep I'm checking my phone. But what percentage of that screen time, that very large screen time that I have, what percentage of it is related to actually learning about concepts and things related to my deen? Like I said, you're learning about the whole fiqh of finance that Islam has. Do I have the time to learn that? Probably. So like, why am I not doing that? So I think it's kind of around that, trying to do a bit more analysis of my time and seeing where I could maybe use it in a better way.
Yeah, it all comes back to time management, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're so used to like 15-second videos and just scrolling down
Yes.
that we don't even can't put our minds to like a good inspirational video about anything, like a whole talk and everything. Sorry, Mariam, I cut you off.
No. I think for me as well, I found this opportunity on social media, so there is the advantage of that. I don't think
100%. No.
I wouldn't know about this opportunity had I not been active on social media, on Twitter. So
Yeah.
I do think it's about surrounding yourself or following things or subscribing to things that will actually benefit you, as you just mentioned. And especially in Ramadan, I don't know if you guys watched the Suleiman series, Jannah series. It was incredible. It's something that me and my mum watched together. And it's just so enlightening. It just really makes you feel so spiritual. So I do think it really is about what you want to consume.
Yeah. I think I was also thinking that I don't just want to... I want to almost narrow down what I'm consuming by casting a wider net, if that makes sense. So I feel like a lot of the things we consume are just things that we already... Like, the algorithm knows what we want to see.
Yeah.
So in that way, I don't just want to see what I want
Do
to
you
see.
want to change a little bit
Yeah,
as well?
I want to see a lot of things. I don't want the media to be something that I've just like one
Yeah.
narrow thing coming my way.
You're letting the media choose what they show to you,
Exactly.
whereas you need to choose
I
what
wanted
you're seeing.
exactly. Nicely said. That's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, I kind of want to do that a bit more. So that's my thought for the week.
That was a good thought of the week, Lamisa.
I think we all had great thought of the weeks this week. Very
It's because
good
it's
discussions.
been so long since we had like
seen each other.
yeah.
And a live studio recording as well.
If anyone does
Exactly.
have any thoughts on the live, we shall be checking them.
Exactly. And please do let us know your thoughts. You can follow us on Instagram at Sister Speak. You can text or WhatsApp in 0779 481 And if you want to call us, if you want your voice to be heard on radio and you want to talk to us, please do 01582 481 But yeah, I guess that is that for Thoughts of the Week.
Okay, so our hot topic.
Yeah, our hot topic now. So this is just something that's current in our lives at the moment. What we're going to be talking about is we've had a bit of a catch up, but we want to have a bit of a catch up about how Eid went, end of Ramadan, that type of thing. So yeah.
So I think last week's episode was of our reflections of Ramadan, which me and Fareen did. So that was nice. But just in general, talking about Eid, and I actually mentioned this in last week's episode as well. Obviously, I hate using this word, but the vibes are very different because it's officially not the summer Eid anymore. So we have obviously it's colder. And that changes things from even just I used to say Eid prayer in the morning was prayer in the park. Like that was the thing, and it felt like you're in a Muslim country or something. But you couldn't do that this year because it was raining. Or if you celebrated it on Saturday, it's just cold, isn't it? So you can't go at 8 a.m. in the park. But yeah, so those little things have changed, which I definitely noticed. But in general, if it's just the catch up about Eid, it's always great, isn't it? I mean, not to plug Inspire FM, but I did go to the Inspire Eid, and it's so nice. It's just such a great thing to have.
Did you see the Viking ride this year?
The what? Sorry,
The ship.
it was amazing.
Right. Did you go on it?
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh, are you talking about that boat?
Yeah.
It's like a banana boat,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah. I did see that.
Did you go on
actually.
it?
No.
Fareen, were you sat at the back? Were you sat in the middle?
I found that the ride was really good in general, but the fact that we were facing each other, we're strangers. I was
That's
like,
the funny bit, though, isn't it?
Do you know,
'Cause
a
just
kid
watch each
told
other.
me, a kid turned around and said, "Why are you screaming?"
Wow.
I looked at this child and I was like,
It's a ride. That's what
"It's
people
a ride,"
do.
and I'm scared again.
you know what? I'm telling you, all the kids were. I don't know why. I feel like all the vibe with the kids were so mature on the
They're
ride.
very
They
brave.
didn't
They're
smile,
very brave,
no
yeah.
screams, and I'm at the back screaming every single
Yeah.
time. It's like
They don't know how rides are supposed to be experienced.
Yeah.
That's why we're up there with our hands up,
do they
screaming.
not feel that rush when it
No,
like
they
goes
just
down?
Like the stomach thingy
Yeah,
and
I
everything.
hate that.
coming out. Yeah, this is why I don't go on the Viking ride. Okay,
It's so scary because
go
I was
on
going to
the
sit at
front
the
one.
back and my sister came and I was like, "Oh, because you're scared, we'll sit at the front." But it goes up so high.
It does not. It does not. I
It
saw
does,
it. It's just like a
Sonia.
little.
You don't know. I felt like I was on the top. I was like on the peak of Luton. I was like,
No, I went on the you know the one that goes up and down like it's a frog.
The-
bashing
yeah, the
thing?
frog one.
That's like my ultimate favorite ride.
"Do you like it?" I went on
love
it last
that.
year and I
It's the
hate.
best.
I was scared. I screamed again on that one. And
But
my
that's
dad
the
was
fun.
next to me. He was like, "Why are you screaming?"
And then I went on, and obviously your Eid makeup and clothes and stuff, you can just forget about that
Exactly.
because of the ride.
Yeah.
And then I went on the Daredevil one.
Oh yeah,
You know which
Daredevil one
that
is good. Yeah.
But I wore trainers, which was fun with Eid clothes.
I did
because
too.
You don't
'Cause
want your
it was
clothes
wet.
to get muddy.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's ways. What about you guys?
I did not wear trainers. I was like, beauty is pain. I'm gonna wear my heels. I'm gonna go on all the rides.
We love it.
Because I'm from all my siblings, I'm the only one that's like really that I want to go on all the scary rides. So what I had to do, I had to adapt to my siblings. So I had to go like on the boring ones that for them were like the scary ones, and I was like, what are you doing? So I sat on one with my two brothers, and they were literally slipping off the ride. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because they're little, aren't they?
Yeah, so I was like holding them like one hand out of each other, but it was really nice.
I also bought biryani. Sorry, just saying.
Very nice.
And
did you buy the potato thing?
Me too.
No, I didn't.
It was actually really
Tornado
good.
potato.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
That's fun.
Oh yeah. But what's your ultimate ride at the fun fair?
I don't like rides because I just get
Bumper
scared.
cars?
See, she's like my
bumper
sister.
cars.
You're like my sister.
Bumper cars are just...
No,
it depends
bumper
who you're
cars are the
with. It could be
best,
boring
though.
if no one's like...
Nah.
You're hitting everyone and no one's hitting you.
No,
No,
people have to. I feel
bumper
like
cars
all the
is not my
bumper
thing.
cars. I've been really
Because it's like going on the tube. Like, I don't want to be hit.
I feel like
It's not like
I
the
don't know, I
tube.
feel like
It just pushes you.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You have to be the hitter, then you
Yeah.
enjoy it more.
exactly.
What's the one that goes around? What do you call it?
Which
The
one?
It's like
Ferris-
where
the
you sit
Ferris
on it.
wheel. No.
Oh, what, the little... I think Sizzler or something like that. What you
Is
sit
it
on it, it goes
Twister,
round loads.
Twister?
Twister.
Twister.
Like no, it goes up and it's,
Oh, she's talking about
that.
the scary
That's the
scary
one I
one.
didn't know
Okay,
on. Like
well,
that.
we're gonna
It's
have
like
to
a
bring
spider
our
door.
conversation to an end. This was fun though.
Oh my god.
But yeah, join us
Hope
after
you all
the break.
enjoyed your
where
Eid.
where we'll
Eid
be discussing
Mubarak.
more. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to Sister Speak. So yeah, before the show we were talking a lot about our experiences with Eid and how it all went. We were talking about our favourite rides. It was a fun discussion. We just want to say that our main topic is going to be on visibility of Muslim women in higher education roles or higher roles in general. And it is a very, very good and fun topic. If you guys do want to get involved, Fareen, where can they get in contact with us?
You can call us on 01582 481 822. You can WhatsApp us on 07779 481 822. We are also live on Facebook at Inspire from Luton. If you do have any thoughts or you want to let us know what you think about women working in higher roles or just anything in general that you want us to speak about on the live, you can let us know during the live. You can let us know on Twitter at sisterspeak_FM, or you can let us know on Instagram at sisterspeak.
So many avenues to get
We
in
have
contact.
so many sources. You just
So
have to get in
please,
contact, and we'll
exactly.
be more than happy to let everyone know your thoughts.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, our main topic today is on visibility of Muslim women in higher roles. So over to Fareen, who chose this topic. Why did you choose this topic?
So the other day I was wasting my time, obviously, and scrolling on social media, and you know those news that just come up and you're like, oh, this is irrelevant to me. Obviously, so many news. So one thing came up, and it was this woman. She was born in Syria, and she was the first judge in America, and she was a hijabi. So I was like, wow. I was
What news source was that?
The news source was arabnews.com because the woman is Syrian, and they were just making her obviously such a big achievement to do
So
it.
was she the first Muslim female judge?
She was the first hijabi judge, I
Hijabi
think.
judge.
Yes, she
In
was the first
America.
hijab wearing
USA.
Superior Court judge in the US. Yes.
Wow.
So her name was Nadia Kaf. Yeah, and she took her oath with her hand on a copy of the Quran. And I was like, wow. So when I read this news, I was like, because obviously I want to do law as well. So I was like, inshallah, when I be a lawyer, when I'm going to be a judge, I'm going to be
That
like
could be you, Fareen.
that could be me.
That will be for me.
And I was like, this is like my role model. Is something that this is the first time that I've seen a woman with a hijab in like a field that I want to do in the future. So I was like, this could be me. I'm going to be with my hijab. And I just feel like it was so nice to see on Instagram. And that's why I want to, like, the visibility that we're getting now, it's awesome. And that's why I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about how that like, we can do this stuff. Even if we're wearing hijab, even if we're not wearing it, whatever we're wearing, it doesn't matter. As long as we know what we're doing. And we know what we're doing. We just need that visibility.
Yeah, wow. No one said it better than her. She said what she said. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Very true. I love the inspiration for this topic. It's such an important topic as well. And like Fareen said, it's hard for us to often see people like us. I think we're seeing it more and more these days, but definitely growing up as well, it was not easy to see. And I guess that's made a lot of us have that kind of hunger inside of us where we're like, we're going to make it happen so that people have that. So yeah, we love that. I guess the first question for you guys is, what is your experience like working in these roles? We have a lot of high flying people with us today.
Pretty mashallah.
So what's your experience like working in higher roles or working towards these kind of higher positions generally? And have you ever set it as a goal for yourself?
Is this towards me?
Yes,
Towards, everyone, all of us.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, we'll save the best to last. In terms of what's it like to work in these positions, you know what, it's good, but it's also, you learn so much in being there, and also I feel like you learn how to bite your tongue a lot or overcome a lot of barriers. So just to give some examples, the amount of times, I'm not even exaggerating, and I don't particularly look young, maybe now, but when I'm at work, you know, in work attire, badge on, lanyard on, everything, the amount of times someone has come up to me and said, "Can I speak to the manager, please?" And then you just turn around and you're just like, I am the manager. It's so nice to do, but I don't do that because I just don't feel the need. I'll just be like, okay, well, I can help you. You know, I am in that role. Yeah. So, you know, the amount of times someone will turn around and be like, is there anyone else I can talk to? Or are you the one dealing with this? It's so patronizing, and I don't even know where it comes from. I don't wear the hijab, so it's not necessarily because I am Muslim, but that's just because I am probably a girl, a female. But obviously there is times where I know my work colleagues who are Muslim will agree with me on this, and Asian people do look at you differently. There's nothing you can say to prove it, and I don't want to say that it's a general thing. It is my opinion, and this is how I feel. But you feel microaggressions and undermining just because of the fact that, you know, you're not white, basically, or you're Muslim, so your thought process might be a bit different, or your background is different. You feel like no one's going to say it to you outright. Well, sometimes they might, which is horrible, but they don't often say it. But you can just feel non-Muslims kind of think that, or they're more surprised, and like, oh wow, you got to this position? How did that happen? And it's like, oh gosh, we are educated, you know, we can do things. So yeah, there's a lot of surprise, a lot of undermining, and then the worst part is sometimes it's from your own community as well. So your own Muslim, you know, community, or Asians, it could just be whatever it is. Sometimes they even surprised and shocked as well. But yeah, I would definitely say, in terms of the second part of the question, what was the second part of the question? I
mean, in terms of having those goals, have you always been a person to have those types of goals and be like, you know what, I'm going to aim for whatever high position I can think of?
I think...
or have you ever thought, nah, I'm not going to be able to do that?
I think so many times when I was growing up, and even like when I was in Korean stage, which is the second year A-levels, there was so many moments where I thought, I'm just not even going to try. You don't often see Asian girls or Muslim girls in those roles. I'm not even going to bother thinking about it. And that, one of them was law as well, because I was into law at the time, and I just thought, it's going to be very difficult. It's just going to be hard, because you just imagine it to be hard for you, because you don't often see people in those that look like you in those positions. And then obviously with media especially, I thought this is going to be very hard. And there is one or two, right? But the thing is, you always know those one or two, because there's such a big deal, because they're so special. Like there's a hijabi news broadcaster in America, and almost so many people know her. The way people know her, I thought she was the influencer, but she's not. She's just that's her job. She's a news anchor. But because she's a hijabi, it became such a thing. Like, wow, she's a hijabi. That, you know.
First one. I know what you're talking about.
And she the fact that Mariam knows who I'm talking about, I've just described her. But do you see where I'm coming from? Like, you know straight away. But it's like, why is there only one? And so you think, forget it. Like, I'm not going to be the other one, am I? There's already one. I'm hardly going to be the second one. So definitely, there's so many, like, you know, you stop yourself almost because you think you won't get there.
Fair enough.
That's why it's so nice to see, you know, that we can do this in this generation, and that we are all capable of working in high roles if we put our mind to it. And like you said, even if you don't have a goal, I think I always try to aim high. Obviously, I'm not working in like roles like you guys, and I don't have any high roles that I'm aiming for now. But in the future, I think, like you said, like the law field, for example, it's really competitive, and they're not only going to look at your degrees, they're going to look at so many aspects. So I think it's just the thing to not doubt yourself.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors in that play into this. For example, your financial circumstance, because you have to be able to have a financial backing to be able to engage with extracurricular a lot of people have part-time jobs and they cannot engage with these things, and therefore they cannot get the experience, and therefore they cannot get the exposure. And I think this is not something that's talked about or factored in when we're talking about how young people from our communities can aspire to higher roles. We don't talk about how they have a lot of disadvantages that affect them. So I feel like for me personally, I did feel that. I feel that whilst it's easy for people to say that you should, explore different options, you should look at extracurricular. Firstly, I don't have the connections because my family background does not have any. So I couldn't even use nepotism, which a lot of people do use in this area. So a lot of people say this. It's always about what you know. It's not who you. It's all about who you know, not what you know. So that was the first thing. I think it's finance. So if you live in an area where there isn't a lot of opportunities for you to engage with different things, for example, if you want to get into law, then go to law dinners and things like that, you won't have the finance to even travel out to London or to area where there is a high density of these opportunities, and that's the second thing. And then we have the whole attainment gap as a way of helping young people to get the specific grades that they need to be actually recognised or identified as someone that's capable. So I feel like there's just so many factors that play into this in terms of your aspiration, because you already feel disadvantaged and you are disadvantaged in so many other ways. But for me personally, the way I kind of come back to that, alhamdulillah, I do feel like I have that sense of privilege that I worked in university. I didn't need to contribute to the household as much. And so therefore I was able to use that money to do the things that I wanted to do in terms of my opportunities, and that's what's helped me to get the role that I have today. So I think there's just a lot of situations where we can't just talk about this certain trajectory that you can achieve these certain goals. You have to be quite understanding and empathetic towards people who have these disadvantages. And I feel like there's a lot of spaces where they do try to upskill people, but again, it's about education, right? If you don't know about it, how are you going to engage with it? So yeah, I think that's kind of my thought process behind that. Personally, for me, I was always passionate about helping the community. It's just something I've always loved, and I used social media to help me gain these opportunities. I followed people that I thought were doing really great work, and they would just like retweet things, or they would just share things that I would feel like, oh, maybe I should try this. So the kind of organisation that I tried, that I was part of last year, was Patchwork. And this organisation is an organisation that helps young people to understand politics, but also upskill them in multiple different ways. And that really opened my minds, because we are given this certain idea that we have to go through this one trajectory. We have this tunnel vision that if you want to do law, you have to go through this one route. But actually, you can work in law and work in the NHS, because there's a lot of legal understanding that you need in the NHS. So I think also having people around you really does help. So yeah, I don't know, my train of thoughts are all over the place, but I just genuinely think that try to help people that are younger than you in terms of even just educating them or finding opportunities, because if you have the currency now, the young people don't.
Yeah, and it is kind of up to us as people who maybe didn't have those opportunities available for us to then try and make it easier for those who are coming after us. And just, if we can help them out a little bit, it helps us all out. But I guess I wanted to ask you, like, when you were younger, did you ever have that kind of, I feel like I can't get there because I'm not a certain type of person, for
Definitely. Example? I think the vigor that I got only developed later on. I think when I was younger, and that could be because of my self-confidence. I do want to factor that in as well.
I'll say something about that later on.
Yes, so I think I was a very anxious person. I lacked self-confidence, and so therefore that kind of informed my decision and dictated the steps that I would take, because I didn't have that value for myself, and I didn't feel that I would have the skills necessary to be able to do certain things. And only last year or the year before, I really took a plunge and a leap of faith in terms of trying to challenge myself, and that's when everything started to transform, alhamdulillah, without Allah's favour. So yeah, I do think it's that as well. Your mental health does have a role to play in terms of what you will engage with and what you will disengage with.
I agree with, because I think confidence is the biggest part of a lot of it. So in terms of opportunities and things, we are disadvantaged, and that is a fact. But the thing is if you, and I hate to say it, but if you do take it on yourself, there are, to a certain extent, certain opportunities you can make for yourself and things like that. But where it will start from is if you have the confidence in yourself to go out and do it. And I feel like from a young age, I've never thought that I can't do something, because of the fact that I've always been told that I can. And I feel like that's the difference when I meet other people, is like I've realised not everyone has that around them. And I feel like from a very young age, I can remember that there were certain things where I wasn't that good at doing different things and things like that. And then I had this one tutor who I'm actually very thankful for, and I've only made this realization now in this spot. But I think it was because of my tutor, the fact that he was like, actually, it's not you're bad at this. You can do it. You just need to take a bit of time to try and understand it. It was a specific thing at the time. But I kind of carried that attitude throughout life. It was I'm not bad at it, or it's not something that I can't do. It's going to take me a bit of time, but I will get there. I know I will get there, that type of thing.
Well done, Lamisa.
And I think recently that confidence has gone down a bit. I'm still trying to find it. But in terms of dreaming for or having aspirations for jobs and things like that, and for us as Muslim women to be in higher roles, it's not something that's impossible and something we know we can do. It's just about having the confidence and believing in ourselves as a first step to try and get there. Because I feel like if you don't have that in the get-go, you're not doing yourself justice in a way. We have to have that confidence within ourselves, and I think it's something we need to start to develop as a community and be like to each other, we can do it.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't believe in yourself, how are others going to believe in you?
And it's about, because a lot of us haven't had that from a young age, but it's about encouraging it and changing the attitude bit by bit. So if we don't take it upon ourselves, if your friend says, hey, this is something that I'm looking into, do you think it would be a good idea? Obviously giving them realistic advice is important too, but also being encouraging, being like, if you think that that's something that's good for you, and you are, looking into it and you're making sure that all the avenues are covered, then why not? Why wouldn't you go for it? So I feel like confidence is a huge, huge thing, and it's something that we need to try and give ourselves a bit more.
I think even it stems down from the household as well.
100% it comes from the household,
It comes from the household. I think it's multiple things. The household, the environment you go to school.
Definitely.
Because your parents can work really hard to build your confidence, but it could be that one teacher that destroys it all, or that one bully that destroys it all.
Very true.
And bullies can actually change your life for the course of the way you think about yourself. So I think it's really important. It's a collective kind of thing that where school, your peers, your home life all have to work together to build this young person's confidence, and that will create a collective strong community.
100%.
Yep, I just want to share something really quickly about your hustle and everything. My dad, he, sometimes when you think that your parents, they're from the other generation and they came from wherever they came from, India, Bengal, and you're going to have this mindset that we can't get to this high roles. My dad, he, from a very young age, to me and my sister, because we're the oldest ones, he's always been so supportive about it. He's like, I know you can do it. I'm going to do everything that I can to give you an education, and I want to see you, success. And he's always saying, obviously it's such a young age now, but he's always saying, I'm not going to talk about marriage. I want you to get an education. I want you to have the job that you want, the role that you want. And I think it's such a good thing, because my dad, coming from obviously the family that he has, everyone my age or whatever, they're when are you going to get married, what are you going to do, which is not a bad thing. You can get married young, you can do whatever you want, but the fact that my dad took that step with us and showed us this another type of life that you can take, and that you can't get married and have a higher role education and can do stuff, I think is really good. And I think that my dad is being supportive throughout all. It was such a good thing for me and my sister, and it gave us a lot of confidence to work hard in school. I want to show my dad, I want to show my parents that I can do this. They're giving me the resources, they're paying for my education, and at the end of the day is obviously I want to get, I want to be a lawyer and all that for my goal, but one of my goals is be there for my parents, impress them as well.
Oh, go for Reed.
Yeah, I love my parents.
Dad and Reed's mum.
We love it. And I think that's what it is. It's having people around you who tell you can do it definitely gives 100%. You that footing to be actually, I can now go and look for the steps to try and make my whatever I want to do a reality.
But what are the people who don't have that support system? In that case, how do we talk about those people? Because I do think if you don't have a supportive family background and you have a way of thinking and your families are different, then there's a conflict and there's a discrepancy there. So in that case, what would you guys suggest?
I think in that case, so what we're talking about in terms of confidence is a societal thing, a multifaceted thing, right? In this scenario, it's difficult because, like you said, Mariam, there's a conflict, and always solving conflict is a very difficult thing to do. And I think that's when your idea of introspection is really important there too. Thinking about what your situation is, what you want to do, what your goals are, and then thinking about your kind of plan of how you want to get there. I think with everything and with higher roles and things like that, for us to aim or for us to hope to get to somewhere, we need to have action steps to get in place. And I think once you have those kind of sorted and set out, it's a matter of having conversations with the people that you need to have conversations with to get there. And hopefully once you're at that stage where you are getting a plan in place, you already have that confidence within yourself that you're going to get there, because you're making the steps for you to do it. And it's just about convincing others. In terms of giving yourself that confidence, it's hard, because especially if you've had, like you said, you've had experiences in life which have brought your confidence levels down, or maybe making you doubt yourself a little bit. But I think I want to say, like, in terms of us, we all know that when you have goals in place, unless there are very like obvious things that are in your way, inshallah, if you work hard towards it, and I know it sounds super like, you know, what's the word, kind of optimistic in a way, but inshallah, once you start putting things into place, don't believe that you can't get there, because you can.
I think that's the perspective. Firstly,
I hate to sound cringy, but
no,
You don't.
I don't think we should have this perception that we can't be idealistic with our du'as, because
especially with your du'as, of course, like
I don't think we should ever limit what we ask for.
Exactly.
In our du'as. But in terms of tangible ways of people who don't have that support system at home, if you're in school, I'm sure there'll be a teacher or advisor or someone there that would believe in you and have those conversations. If you're feeling that you don't have that gap at home, find that elsewhere. Find that in school where someone can guide you as you grow up, especially if you're under 18, you go to school. When you go to university, again, there's opportunities. You'll find a lecturer, you'll find societies, you'll find like-minded people. So there's always going to be someone there. It's just that, like you mentioned, when you have introspection, you know exactly what you want. And you're not going to get that support system from anyone. You have to be quite careful as well, because they will influence you completely. So that's kind of just a tangible way of kind of making sure that you get the right advice and the right support from people that align with your values. I forgot what I was going to say now.
But I think also, like, I know we talked about, and I said the importance of it, and I think having a support system, having people telling you that you can do it is important to give you that confidence from the get-go. But at the same time, there are loads of people who don't have it and still pave the way for themselves. And I think at the end of the day, if there's something you want to do, it comes from within you and you kind of giving it to yourself in that way. So if you're like doing justice by yourself, definitely, because you deserve it for you, right?
If you're like, if everyone is negative around you, you have to take that step to look out and look for the positive people that are gonna like bring you up. Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, and if you don't have any support system, we as Sisters Speak are supporting you through every single thing that you can. We know you can do it. We know we all can do. As Muslim women, we can work in higher roles. We're capable of doing anything we put our mind to.
Very nicely said. So I guess we've had a very deep discussion and we haven't even got through the whole plan yet.
I think that was question 1.
Yeah, that was question 1, but it
was 10 questions.
Honestly, it is a very good thing. I guess I want to pick out one very important question that we can discuss quickly. So in The Guardian, what article is this from, Fareen?
The Guardian.
The Guardian. Okay. We'll try and find the article and link it on our Instagram. But I think the title is saying, we've got degrees, so why do Muslim women struggle to get jobs? I think that's a very important thing that we need to discuss. Why do you guys think that is?
Well, I hate to say this, but it really does matter how you look. In these
100%.
Doesn't,
but not just looks, sound, the way we speak, even
the
if the content of what you're saying is said in with a slight accent, or you sound like you're from Luton, or you sound like you're from, this type of thing.
Of course.
Definitely, in my opinion, definitely influences the way you come across.
I think 90% of the time it will, and it does. I mean, you could be an expert in that field and not get the job because they just don't like the fact that you wear the hijab. That is the bottom line. That is the fact.
And they stop listening to you as soon as they saw you.
Yeah, because they've already got in their mind what they're looking for in the job. And you might not fit their company culture. There could be so many reasons, but it's sad to say that you being a Muslim can have an effect on that. And let's not forget, many years ago, the study done, and this has been done so many times, the study when a guy used his CV to apply for jobs and used the same exact CV, but one time with Mohammed and one time with a more English sounding name. I can't remember what it was. And he got more job offers on the English sounding name than the Mohammed name, even though it's exactly the same applications. Sure. And I don't have the link right now, but I'll find it. And you can find this online anywhere. This has been done many times. And that was with a man as well. So it just goes to show that the prejudice is there. Yeah. Anyway, we know it's there, right? Like, it's been proven. But it's a shame because you could be qualified and then in the very last stage. And I have a friend, she's a work colleague of mine as well, and she's mentioned that genuinely it was a recruiter that she went through to get a job at a bank, and it was a bank in the city, and they let the recruiter know and said she was not, like, her image was not what we were expecting, and she wore a hijab, and they literally said this, and I was so outraged for her. I
It's
said,
terrible.
how can you not take this further, and so on and so on. She goes, well, they told the recruiter to pass on that message to me, so it was through, like, you know, she didn't know how to, and she goes, what can I do? I didn't get the job, so I can't go to their
That's
HR.
shocking, yeah.
It's all very, you know, and it's a long
Do you
process.
think that
and-
idea of I think I heard about it going around removing names from applications?
Oh yeah, unconscious bias.
So to remove the unconscious bias,
Yeah.
yeah. So having like anonymous kind of applications.
I've seen that
Do you
in
think
a few
that
places.
would help? Do you think that's it?
I think it definitely.
I think it's a good thing though, because
Yeah.
you know that they're basing it on your merit alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously then we're talking about the next stage, the interview stage, when
Interview
they see
stage,
you,
yeah.
they see your hijab. And I think for you guys, especially that are visibly Muslim, it's, and I'm saying this from my point of view, I'm sure you guys think this, whatever you do, for some reason, it will be a representation of Islam, almost. It could be anything. You could just be doing your interview, but they're going to look at you sometimes and think, she's not just representing a lawyer who's come from a Luton background or so on. She's also representing, in my eyes, a Muslim female. And it's so hard for you to keep that balance, because sometimes you're there for a certain reason to get the job, but
Yeah.
they're looking at you with all these other
Other lenses,
misconceptions
yeah.
that they may have of you, you know. So
It's a
those
difficult
barriers,
one.
they're going to form barriers for you. You
That's
know,
true. But I feel like in terms of the anonymizing, because so many people don't even get through the first round to get to interview stage. Because I feel like at interview stage, you're talking, you're letting your ideas come through. If they're listening to you on the other side, that's a different question. But at least you get to show some part of yourself and what you stand for. Whereas when you're on paper, if someone's looking at your name and they're forming all of these ideas, and just because someone's name is slightly different, even if they have the same qualifications as you, that might put them at a bit of an advantage. At least it's giving you that opportunity to get your foot in the
So
door.
you really, really think about it. Why does your name need to be on an application?
It doesn't.
It does.
But yeah, we are at the end of our show. I'm so sorry, Mariam. We need to talk about this. We need to continue this conversation like next week. But thank you all for listening. We hope you join us next week where we'll have another interesting discussion. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.